So up until now, you have learned how learning works here. Like, how do you actually learn? What learning is? How you actually transform, right? What world you're in? You are in the bride's world, and you have learned how transformation actually happens. Okay, and so what we're going to talk about is instruction. What does instruction uh, feel like? What does it mean for you? Because without this understanding, you're going to feel like, oh, really? It's going to feel intrusive. It's going to feel like an unwelcomed guest in your house. Okay. And that is not what this is about. This is about clarity so that you recognize, as Jesus would say, the hour of your visitation. Like, you are fully aware of what's actually happening, and you get to partner with the Lord. You get to yield to him, and you get to be with him. And so this is all about relationship, right? And so when it comes to the bride's way, it's a way of life. It is an actual path, and it's step by step. How do you actually become his bride? Okay, it is not a set of concepts. It's not helpful ideas. It is not what fits your preference. Okay, it is you take it and you walk it. Okay, and so this lesson is going to clarify basically why instruction leads towards obedience, why learning is directional, meaning like you have to do something. Learning is not just about hearing, you have to do something, and why you must submit to the Lord and you must submit to his way. All right, and not just doing whatever it is that you want to do. And I have here submission to a way, and that way is the bride's way. Okay, so the bride's way is this ordered path of formation. It is literally step by step. Like I said, the Lord has taken me through this path, and he's given me language. He's given me understanding of how to actually teach this so that he can bring you down the path. Okay, what does that look like? And I'm literally blown away. Like, as I'm even teaching this, I am so blown away of how he's done this. And as I'm teaching it, and as I was coming up with all of the lessons and outlines and everything like that, I'm like, this is actually what I walk through, and I can't believe the privilege that he's given me to be able to teach you, so that he, by his Holy Spirit, would teach you and guide you down the same pathway. All right, so the bride's way is how you are formed into his bride, and so you can live in union with him, like a real living relationship with the bridegroom king. I feel within my heart like that is what we were made for. And until you recognize that Jesus is your husband, that he is the bridegroom king, you will not be able to fully and truly cherish him the way he ought to be cherished. So the bride's way is meant to be revealed, it's meant to be learned, it's meant to be practiced, and it's meant to be repeated. This is the formation loop, okay? So you're not here to just discover your way and to take things of what I'm going to say and do your own thing. It's about what he has said, and it's about you submitting to his way, being invited into what already exists, what he's actually already created. And that's what he took me on, and that's what he's inviting you to join in as well. When you decide to, if you ever decide to say, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna leave this, and I don't want this part, I want this part, what happens is that you stall. You are stuck. You do not move forward because you're not following him. Okay. And it's so interesting because when we do things our own way, we think we have this false sense. We don't think it's false though. We have a false sense of freedom, of flexibility. We have this false sense of safety, but it is actually very dangerous, and there's no stability in there. When you actually submit to the Lord and submit to his ways, that's where you actually feel stable, and you feel like you are resting on something that is unshakable. Okay. But when everything that you decide to do is optional, when obedience is negotiable, when repetition is inconsistent, then it's not really repetition, but when it's inconsistent, and when your formation is shallow, it has no substance, that is where you get stuck. That is like quicksand. Okay. And so the bride's way is about instruction that is unto you being formed and you embodying the bride's way. That is how you become the bride. Okay, so in the bride's world, instruction always leads to response. So, like every lesson, there's something that the Lord is asking for you. He's asking of you to respond to. Okay, He's asking you, He's revealing to you something. He's looking for you to reflect and respond and to do that over and over again. And whatever He reveals to you, He actually does expect you to change your life. And what I mean by that, and the way that you change your life, is by following Him, by listening to Him. So if He says, I'll give you an example for me. I thought, okay, what does a woman who puts Jesus first look like? And the thought that came to me is they pray, read their Bible, and they worship Him. I thought, my own thoughts, I'm thinking, okay, I'll do that some way, somehow during my day. I don't know how. At this point in my life, I was waking up at 4 a.m. and I would work from 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. extra hours. Extra hours. I would work from 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. And then I would still work in the daytime. And what I mean by work, I had my own business at the time that I was teaching people how to grow their business online. I would do that from 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. The Lord said to me, well, you say you want to put me first, but look what you wake up to. You wake up to work. You don't wake up to me. And it was the first time that I saw like, oh, I didn't recognize how my life, like how it's ordered and what I'm doing, how that reflects my priority. And so I had that decision. I could either listen to Him and from 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. spend that time with Him, or I could say, well, I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, I'll pray and worship and read the Bible some other time during the day. When the Lord reveals something to you, it's so that you can follow Him and change your life. Okay? To rearrange everything around Him. Remember what I said, the bride's world is this world where He is the center. He is everything and everything revolves around Him. Like He is it. So whatever He says goes. Okay? That is what the bride's way is about. Hmm? Okay, it's not an emergency tray. Give me a moment, okay? So when the Lord gives instruction, it's not okay. If you want to be His bride, if you want to actually be conforming to His bride, when He talks, it is not optional. It is, Lord, your wish is my command. Like whatever you say, I will do. I live to solely please you. And so it's there are no options. It is whatever pleases Him, that is what I will do. And so we don't get to pick and choose and cherry pick what we want and say, we'll take this, we'll take a little bit of that. No, we need all of Him, all of Him. So whatever He says, even the things that He says that we don't like, that requires great sacrifice, all of those things, they make up His loveliness. He is lovely, okay? Even the things that He says that cut us and convict us and wound our flesh, wound our pride. He is lovely, and we are here to do whatever He says. So, instruction that He gives us is meant to form us, to transform us. Okay. Now, I just want to go on the other side and tell you what this means. This does not mean that you should be pressured or that you should compare yourself to other people or that you should punish yourself or that you will be punished. That's not what this is at all. Okay. It just means simply this. Instructions bring clarity. Instructions bring consistency. With instructions comes an expectancy. And lastly, relational accountability. A lot of women, and just people in general, a lot of people just do not have accountability, and they don't have relational accountability. And so, how can you really grow if someone cannot keep it 100 with you? If they cannot tell you the truth, lovingly telling you the truth. I'll tell you this, there are so many things that I've grown through that came from very, very heartbreaking realities that the Lord Himself delivered to me and that people have delivered to me. And truths about myself that I did not want to accept. But it was true. And just because you don't want to accept it doesn't mean it's false. So obedience is not demanded. Obedience is taught. Obedience is invited to. When we are invited to obey the Lord, we are doing ourselves a great service. Okay. So here's the difference between information and formation, is that information is about understanding. Formation is like, how can I participate in this? How can I live this out? It really is about being formed and allowing whatever is being revealed to change your life. Okay? Because you can understand truth deeply and still resist formation. You can understand it, and say, yeah, I understand Jesus is bridegroom, but I don't want that. And yeah, it makes sense, but I just don't want that. We can do that. We all have that choice. That's what free will is. And so this lesson is meant to move you from observer to participant, from a listener to a practitioner, someone who does this. You practice. Okay? You're a doer. You are a doer. So from hearer to doer, from admirer to follower. And so many people would say they follow Jesus. They don't. They don't. They do a little bit here, do a little bit there. And that might be you. This is not meant to condemn you. This is meant to allow the Lord to shine His light on you so that you see the truth. Once you see the truth of the matter, then you know how to actually fix it. You know the remedy. But if they say the first step to what is it? The first step to recovery is admitting that you have a problem. If you don't think you have a problem, how can you truly recover? You cannot. You have to see, oh, this is really how it is. This is wrong. However, the hope is Christ. The hope is Christ. My heart gets so warm thinking about how He is the hope and that all we need is Him. All we need is Him. And all we need to have is a willing, open heart of yieldedness and obedience to Him, of submission to Him, no matter how hard it is to follow Him. Because we know that there is a cost, okay? You're not asked to obey blindly. You are being invited to obey relationally. This is where knowing Jesus comes into play. Because sometimes He will ask you some things and you're like, why? But despite ever having the understanding as to why He's asking, if you know who He is, when you spend time with Him and you see who He is at heart, that He is gentle and that He is humble, that He is love, that He is patient and kind to you, and He is a bridegroom, and that you are His wife, and that He loves you, and He works all things together, and He makes all things work together for you because you love Him and He has called you. Okay? And that His Father loves you, and that you love His Father, and His Father has called you to the purpose to be like His Son. And Jesus is on a mission to present to himself a bride without spot or wrinkle, a purified, holy bride. Then you would see that obedience is about relationship, and that all you have to do is know him. And whatever he says, again, Lord, your wish is my command. Whatever it is you desire, I will do. Okay? You are walking with a bridegroom who sees you, who knows you, who corrects you, who forms you, and he has patience and he is gentle. He is gentle. I think many times we picture God as impatient, as rough, as harsh, and he is so far from any of those things. Because the reason why knowing the Lord is super important is because throughout the bride's way, as you take the bride's way and he's conforming you, he will ask you of many things. He will ask you of many things. He will ask for you to reorder your time. He will ask you to prioritize him. He will ask you to sacrifice things that you think are important. And at the end of the day, what the question is do you love me more than these? It's the same thing he asked Peter. He will ask you, do you love me more than keeping your schedule? Do you love me more than doing what you think you should and rather doing what I want you to do? Do you love me more than the reputation that you hold? Do you love me more than that? Than these things? Do you love me more than your pastimes? Would you give up your TV time or your whatever time? Are you willing to spend that time with me? He's going to ask you for things that maybe you don't even feel like doing. He's going to ask you, do you love me more than your feelings? Do you love me more than your comfort? Okay. And so this lesson is here to just to prepare you so that when the time comes and he does ask you to sacrifice things, he does ask you to deny yourself and pick up your cross and follow him. When he asks you, you can recall this right here. That we can't just say we love him with our lips and then our heart is far from him. We cannot just say, I want him to be my bridegroom and I want to be his bride, but then we don't live it out. He will cash the checks of your lips that you write. Whatever you say, he will say, is that true? Then let me take you up on that offer. You said that you would be all mine. This is what I want. I remember many, many times the Lord has asked me for so many things. And one time he specifically said to me, he said, I'm only doing what you asked me to do. Okay? And so if we say we want him, we have to know that we won't always like the process of what that means and what we have to go through. But I will tell you that it is a glorious result. It is such sweet fruit to be married to him and to love him and to have him, to hold him, to be held by him. It is beautiful. So the way that this is repeated, is produced over time, is to trust him. This is what the bride's way does. It causes you to trust him, to trust in his leadership, to find stability and obedience, to love to obey him, to love to show your love for him by doing what he says, even when you don't understand, to rid yourself of self-direction and to truly allow him to be Lord. And to have confidence that I did it once, I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to do it again, even when I don't feel like it, even when it seems like nothing is happening. This is the way that he says to walk in, I will walk in it. Okay? And so you won't be asking, do I feel like doing this? Or you won't even be thinking, I don't feel like doing this. It would just be like, what is the Lord asking of me? What does he require of me? What does he want of me? All right? And without this, if you don't submit to the way of the bride's way, then you will stay where you're at. growth will be inconsistent. Obedience will remain optional and you will not go anywhere. It is sad but true. And that is what I found myself in for 9 years. I went nowhere spiritually. I went nowhere. And I suffered and I cried many cries. And I cried out to him. I opened up my Bible. I did things and I felt like he was so far away from me and I was so far away from him. I don't want that. He doesn't want that. You don't want that. Formation requires change. Formation requires a path that you must walk. And it's a narrow way. It's a narrow way, and few ever find themselves on this way. Okay? And so that's it for this lesson. I hope you understand what the bride's way is, what is expected here when it comes to obedience and instruction, and how submission actually helps you to live with him, and why having the bride's way and knowing what it is, why it being defined actually helps you to be formed into his bride. Without this being defined, like, you're going to try this, you're going to try that, you're going to hope it works. But again, having clarity and knowing the steps to take and doing it by the Holy Spirit, that's where the fruit is.